But Gerrard! Oh, you beauty! What a head, son! What a head!
Welcome back to Onto the Ball. I'm your host, Scott. I'm joined, as always, by Travis Morgan, and for every single Arsenal poddy here on in, by Robert Malonga. Eminem, as I call you, Morgan and Malonga. How are you doing, lads? Is it okay?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good to hear.
Yeah, good. Monday, here we go. What a weekend of ball, Rob. It was Saturday. Obviously, Liverpool were first. 2-1 against Crystal Palace. Fortuitous, some may say. Then Trav took a real slapping at OT. Should have been 4-0, but a contentious handball saved them. Speaking of contentious handballs, that led us on to Aston Villa 1, Arsenal 0. What a game. What 3 games, man. I felt like drunk on football come 7:30 Saturday night, but I absolutely loved it. I wouldn't change it for the world. What's your thoughts? Let's start with the lineup, Rob. I've got them here. I've got it here. You talk me through your team. You know them better than me. But when I seen the lineup, I thought Arteta's finally got a bit of stability there. Raya, White at right back, Saliba and Gabriel centre back, Zinchenko, Odegaard, Rice, Havertz, Saka, Jesus, Martinelli. You can't get much stronger than that. I think the only one that was missing from that you could strengthen, I would say, is probably Kai Havertz. But what's your thoughts on it?
That's pretty much at the moment the best 11 we can put out because, you know, we've got injuries at the moment. I would say the only potential change in that lineup, I think, was a toss-up between Kai Havertz and Trossard in the 8. And I think he went with Havertz based off physicality, and I think he's in a good run of form at the moment. He scored a few goals. He looks like the player that, you know, when we signed him, that's what the manager wanted. So other than that, really, I think that's the best 11 we can put out. Obviously, Tomiyasu's injured, who I felt would have played. I think he would have played instead of Ben White. And then obviously we haven't got Thomas Partey, no Smith Rowe. But other than that, yeah, that's pretty much the best team we could have put out on the day, on the evening.
What's going on with Ben White for FPL players? Has he not been benched for pretty much the last 3 or 4 games?
No, well, he was suffering with a little bit of an injury, and Tomiyasu's come in and he's done really, really well, and he's made that space his own. He locked that down for himself, but yeah, obviously Tommy's got injured again, and Ben White's come back in, and he's looked a little bit. It's not looked like the Ben White from last year. There's not criticising him or anything. He's just looked maybe a little bit leggy. I don't know if he's still carrying, you know, or suffering a little bit from that injury that's kept him out. But you've got to remember, at the end of the day, you know, he's not actually a right back. He is a centre back. We signed him as a centre back, and he's been playing that right back role for us last season and did very, very well. But you know, we paid 50 million for a centre back. But don't get me wrong, he's done well at right back. But yeah. Other than that, like I said, that's pretty much the strongest team we could have put out. I love Tommy in the away games, and I think we massively missed him. We massively missed him on Friday evening because when we go to Anfield, I'd love to have him, but I don't think he's going to be there. So yeah, it's at the moment it's going to be Zinchenko and White. So we've got to really wrap them 2 up because, you know, you're starting to look at a Cedric Suarez if any of them 2 get injured. So, you know, we haven't got Timber. We haven't got Timber either. So. And obviously, Kivior, you know, he fills in at left back. But if we get another injury, then right back, you're looking at Cedric Suarez, unless he fancies giving Royal Walters a game, who's a young lad who might play against PSV tomorrow. So we'll see.
Going to be big changes tomorrow, isn't there? With it being a dead rubber. But Trav, away to Villa Park, is it the toughest fixture at the minute? I think I was looking at the fixtures in the last 12 months. Have only been beaten 3 times at home. There's the odd draw here or there, but then they've won something like 20 games, 20 out of 24. They've just patterned up Man City 1-0. And when I say patterned up, I mean they absolutely blasted Man City, which I'm sure Rob's going to get into. They didn't blast Arsenal. It was a great game end to end, but Villa Park, they're absolutely flying.
Yeah, confidence is massive for them. I mean, what a difference a manager makes. I mean, they've made some shrewd signings, but where they were under Steven Gerrard, floundering in 17th when Emery took over, it's a ridiculous transformation to what he's done to that team and how well drilled he's got them. And I mean, they've taken a risk on some players. I know Yuri Tillemans, for example, was a player that a lot of big clubs were looking at. I know Arsenal, I think, were briefly looking at him. I know Liverpool were linked with him as well. And I think they got him on a free. I'm not 100% sure. I think his contract ran out, didn't it? So some of the business they've done has been fantastic. And he's really molded a real well-oiled machine, and they're really hard to beat. I think just going back to the game itself, just to touch on it, I think it was one of those games where the first goal was really important. And especially in the bigger games away from home, Arsenal's resolve is really tested when they go behind in a game. And I mean, we've already seen it against Newcastle. They were a little bit unlucky. And I think in some ways they were unlucky on Saturday as well. But full credit to the job that Emery's doing. And it is probably the toughest place to go at the moment.
Rob, cast your mind back to last season. Certainly from a Liverpool point of view, watching Arsenal, I was in awe of the form Arsenal were in, and I really thought Arsenal would go on and win the league. But as soon as you went 1-0 down last season, you felt you're going to get it back. Is it a little bit different this season when you went 1-0 down? Were you panicking and thinking, especially off the back of the Newcastle game, tricky away game? Did you think you'd get back into it?
I feel this was a totally different game to the Newcastle game in terms of when we went 1-0 down to Newcastle. We didn't create a lot of chances really after that. In this game, we created a hatful of chances. You know, on another day, we could have scored 3 or 4 goals away at Villa Park. I feel the game really changed when we made a substitution, because I felt before the game, the way that Villa play, I felt our 2 wide men, Martinelli and Saka, were going to have lots and lots of joy, which was the case. Martinelli was keeping the pitch really wide, and Kai Havertz was making some unbelievable runs through the middle. And the amount of times Martinelli got the ball in behind, and his final ball just wasn't quite there. And on another day, like I said, we could have easily scored 3 or 4 goals at Villa Park. So I don't think, in terms of last season, it's totally different the way we're playing. You know, we're trying for that element of control around games of football. But when you go 1-0 down, you can't control. It's harder to control a game of football. You then have to chase the game. But I felt we did all the right things to chase the game, and it wasn't like we were having chances and then Villa were going up the other end and having loads of chances. Villa probably had 2 or 3 chances in the game, but on another day we could have easily scored 3 or 4 goals. Our finishing wasn't quite there, and it's not. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's down to the fact we haven't got a striker," but we spread our goals across the team very, very well. And you look on that day, all of our front 5 players were off it in terms of finishing. Odegaard had a few chances. Saka couldn't quite get it right. Martinelli, his final ball wasn't great. Jesus didn't have a lot of chances. But you know, in terms of the game, I actually thought we played really, really well. And it's not for me a worry really that we lost that game. It's disappointing we lost that game, yeah, 100%. But if we play like that in 90% of the games this season, we'll win more games than we lose. So I'm not too worried about it really, to be fair.
I mean, let's just start with the Villa goal. It was so well worked. I was listening on the radio on the way home. TalkSport Gabby Agbonhol was waxing lyrical about his former side, and rightly so, because Villa absolutely flying. But I think he said that every single Villa player, bar I think it was Matty Cash, touched the ball in the build up to the goal. Is that right?
Potentially.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. My only question I'd have about that goal, and I'll let him off because he was playing it right back and he did find himself in a central area. I thought Ben White could have got a little bit tighter to John McGinn. You know, he's almost been able to fully turn on the ball and then get his strike off. But other than that, yeah, it was a decent goal and they caught us a bit off the hop. They got the ball out to Bailey, which I thought they would do a lot and try and get at Zinchenko. And the one time he did, not necessarily, he didn't really isolate Zinchenko because he didn't go around him or anything like that. But I thought that they were gonna attack that side, and they did. And yeah, like I said, the only criticism of the goal I'd have is probably Ben White could have got a little bit tighter to John McGinn when he turned and shot.
I think Bailey wasn't gone.
Sorry, Trav, I was just going to say, it wasn't just a turn, was it, Trav? It was a turn on the spin that still had the ball travelling perfectly. It was a great bit of skill from again.
I think Bailey does well because he showed good composure in the area that he got into, because I wasn't actually sure what he was going to do with the ball. When he got into the area, I wasn't sure whether he was going to like sort of smash it across the face or try and stand one up or something. But he does pick out McGinn quite deliberately with this pass, and it's a great pass. And like you said, it was the start that Villa needed, and Emery would have dreamt of going 1-0 up. Like you said, Arsenal would have wanted to control that game from early, and like you said, the difference was then they had to go and chase the game, and I think that suited Villa with the likes of McGinn. Now McGinn's just a little dog, innit? Like he just runs around. That's the best way I would describe him. He's just a little pit bull, innit? Like
with quality, with quality though.
Yeah, with quality. Yeah. This is it. Like he is a quality player, but he's got a great engine, and that Villa just didn't seem to stop running. I think if I think back to the signings, Pau Torres as well, he was another one that was linked with United. We get linked with everyone and anyone, but he was another one that clubs were looking at. I think Spurs were in for Pau Torres as well, and Villa managed to get him. And I just don't know how they've done it. Like they've turned a load of like £30 million players into like £50 million players within just sort of half a season. It's ridiculous the job he's done. So yeah, it was a great goal. And just a quick mention to Bailey, how well he did on with the assist.
But we suffocated them, I felt, after they did score that goal. The amount of times that they did try and play out from the back and we pressed them and nicked the ball off them, and we did end up having, 3-on-3 situations, 4-on-4s, but we just didn't quite get the final ball right. Didn't quite get it right. So like I said, I don't think Villa like tactically outplayed us or anything like that. I just think, like you said, Trav, I think they got the first goal, they got it at the right time, and they hung on to it. I wouldn't even say they defended great because we created a hatful of chances, but you need a bit of luck. They will feel as though to beat teams like Arsenal and Man City, you do need a little bit of luck, and they got that.
That's the thing. They've got the confidence now, haven't they, to go 1-0 up at home against Man City, against Arsenal, nullify the opposition, almost turn it into a kind of, what's the word, like a game of attrition, like where they just try to nullify down the left, down the right, suffocate the team. And that's just what confidence in coaching can do for you, can't it, Trav? Obviously, yeah. I'm going to mention you with obviously Ten Hag. We mentioned it on the stream yesterday with Man United. Ten Hag must be looking at Unai Emery, must be looking at De Zerbi, must be looking at Ange Postecoglou and feeling that pressure a little bit more. What am I not doing for my squad of players to coach them to be able to perform like this? And like you say, just mentioned turning like average footballers into £50 million certified ballers. I mean, that's probably good. Brighton's greatest strength, isn't it? Brighton are turning players like Lallana, Welbeck, Milner, not that much to an extent, but they're turning them into well-oiled players, like certified ballers, aren't they?
Yeah, I think the business has been shrewd because they've actually got quite experienced players for good fees.
I was just about to say that.
Like a player like Pau Torres is quite experienced in Europe.
Luca Digne, McGinn, these lads have been around the block. It's not like it's their first season in the Prem. Yes, I was going to say that as well, Trav.
Yeah, I think they've done good business and they've added the right mixture of experience blend, like a good blend of youth and experience. And like you said, they've taken a risk on a couple of players like Tielemans and stuff. But yeah, I think it makes it great for the league as well, because obviously, like in terms of the top 4, 5, 6 teams that are always in the mix for those Champions League places, I think Villa are right in the mix for that. I don't think they've got enough to win the league. I think a couple of injuries and they would really suffer without a shadow of a doubt. Like if they lost to Watkins or something like that, I know they've already lost Mings, but if they lost a couple of other players like Douglas Luiz or something, I think they would struggle. Similar to like Spurs, I think they would go on a little bit of a run where they would have some indifferent results. But long may it continue. Like you said, they're full of confidence. People don't want to go to Villa Park. And let's just see if they can gate crash the top 4.
Well, we'll get there. We're going to make predictions about who's going to finish the top 4. We'll head there towards the end of the stream. I'm just going to jump in the comments. Jose's in. Cheers for joining, Jose. Football Ferreira, top man, legend. Emiliano Martinez. Yeah, we're going to get on to him as well. Gabby Agbonlahor on TalkSport Radio at 5 o'clock said Emilio Martinez is the best keeper in the world. I will dispute that because my keeper's Alisson, of course, but we're definitely going to touch on Martinez. Ravi, cheers for joining again. Ravi, big up, but no robbery. Just need to play the game no matter what is thrown out at you. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what Villa are doing now. John McGinn said it after the game. We're just taking one game at a time and seeing what happens. Like Trav just mentioned, would anyone back against them finishing in the top 4 if they can maintain this home form? Who knows? Arsenal's overrated.
I'm always.
Arteta is rubbish.
What I would say about the game on Saturday evening is I'm always very, very, I don't like to be critical of manager substitutions, but I felt as though the substitution to take Martinelli off for Trossard massively changed the game because, like I said, when Martinelli was playing there, he was really stretching the game, and Havertz was making some great third-man runs, getting in behind. And when Trossard came on, he plays a lot more narrow, and we kind of lost a little bit of our width there. And then it kind of tightened up Havertz's spaces to run in behind. So felt as though that was probably a substitution he shouldn't have made on the evening.
Why do you think you've got Martinelli in your FPL team, Rob?
Yeah, there's that as well, yeah.
What do you think one of your players gets taken off?
Why do you think he made that substitution? What did you think? Did you think he just wanted another goal threat on, or?
I just think he probably wanted another goal threat, and I think before the game, he'd probably looked at Havertz being the change, but Havertz was having such an influence on the game that he probably felt he wasn't going to. And obviously, as the game goes on, you can start to dip balls into the box for Havertz. He's proven that in the last couple of weeks. So, and he nearly came good with the goal at the end that was obviously disallowed. Just it was a good ball in by Odegaard, and he's starting to find those spaces in the box now. Havertz really is. So yeah, I just think he felt as though Havertz for Trossard's the usual substitution. But Havertz was having such an influence on the game, and I think he wanted to get Trossard onto the pitch because, Trossard's scored quite a few goals this season. So that's why I feel as though he made that sub.
It feels like Trossard is like his lucky charm, his go-to guy when he needs it a little bit extra, a bit like Harvey Elliott is for Liverpool in the last probably 10 games. Is that the way you see it, Rob? Trossard?
He's a good player. He's played a lot of games this season. I think he might have 3 or 4 goals in the league, a couple in the Champions League. So he's way on the way to scoring double figures for us in the Champions League and Premier League this season. So yeah, he's a valuable asset to the squad. He's a really, really good player. And the fact we paid £20 million for him is an absolute steal when you think about it.
Let's get on to this penalty, Rob, or the lack of. It's so hard. Obviously, we all watched the game Saturday. We have a laugh in the group chat saying it isn't a penalty. And it's a tough one. Me and Trav were just mentioning it just before you come online there, before we went live. And when you look at it, it isn't a penalty. But then with the rules these days, and no one knows what the rules are anymore, you think that is a penalty. If there's contact, it doesn't matter if he was maybe a second or two delayed in going down. The contact's there. VAR's there to back it up. The more I looked at it, it was a penalty. Sorry.
Are we on about Luis on Jesus?
On Jesus, yeah.
Let me ask you a question then, right? So the penalty that Crystal Palace got earlier in the day, you tell me what difference there is between those penalties. The one difference I would say is that Jesus is actually more in control of the football than John Mateta ever was in control of the football. Mateta's took a poor touch and he's been fouled. I think that's a penalty.
I don't even know if Mateta took a poor touch. He took a touch and it went wherever it was going.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So whether he made contact after it, I don't think it affected that phase of play.
He wasn't in control of the ball. This is what I'm saying. Yeah. Whereas Jesus is fully in control of that ball at all times. I think that's a penalty. I don't really get why it's not a penalty. I don't understand why is that not a penalty?
Why did you say it weren't given?
They don't tell you the reason it wasn't given, do they? VAR don't tell you the reason it wasn't given. Unless they make an error, they'll tell you the reason it wasn't given.
He just kicked
straight through him. I didn't really understand why that was not a penalty. But I know I'm going to sound like I'm ranting, but I do believe that since Arteta's done this Newcastle interview, they're out for him. And you can't tell me that they're out for him. He now, for me, is
it's a fact, Rob. I'm telling you now from Jurgen Klopp fan, it's a fact that will be happening.
He's the poster boy of FA disciplinary. Now, he does things that other managers do, but he gets punished for them. So I'll give you an example. Charity Shield, opening day of the season, first the curtain raiser for the season, Arteta comes out his technical area, gets a yellow card. Have you seen any other manager this season being yellow carded for coming out of the technical area?
There's loads of discrepancies, Rob.
We score against Luton to make it 4-3 in the last kick of the game. He's run out of his technical area, celebrated like any other manager would. Rob Edwards said after the game, they asked him, they said, if you had scored that goal, what would you done? Rob Edwards said I would have been crowd surfing. That is what he said. So he was backing up that Arteta didn't really do anything. Arteta gets a yellow card. He misses the Villa.
You remember when Everton, Liverpool scored in the 90-something minute and Klopp ran on the pitch?
Yeah, right. But listen, right. So Gary O'Neill against Tottenham. Wolves beat Tottenham. Gary O'Neill, they scored to make it 2-1, the winning goal. Gary O'Neill's running down the touchline celebrating. Chris Wilder for Sheffield United this weekend is running down the touchline celebrating. I don't want to see these managers get yellow cards for that. But what I'm saying is, why is our manager picked up a yellow card? Now, one more thing I'm going to say is, I'm going to the Arsenal Liverpool game in 2 weeks' time. Right, it's one of the biggest games of the season. I want to see Jurgen Klopp on that. I want to see Jurgen Klopp on that bench, and I want to see Mikel Arteta on that bench because they add to the spectacle of what's meant to be one of the best games of the season. Now, Arteta made those comments during the Newcastle game. How many weeks ago was that? 6 weeks ago. Newcastle game was five weeks ago. They still haven't. They still haven't punished him. Now there's talk that they're going to punish him now and that he's going to be in the stands for the Anfield game. Why are they waiting this long to put him in the stands for the biggest game of the season? It's ridiculous.
That's fraudulent, mate.
It's ridiculous. Why De Zerbi came out and he said that. Sorry, I'm ranting, but I've been thinking about this all day. De Zerbi said that he does not like 80% of the referees. Why is he not being disciplined for that? What you've asked the manager what he thinks to a decision, and he said he thinks it's a disgrace. That's what he said. De Zerbi has gone personally and said he does not like 80% of the referees.
He's asked for a ban, hasn't he? Basically, he's like, I'm so sick. I want you to fine me and ban me. He's literally invited them by saying that. And what's happened to him?
And I'm not being a bit of fan. I would say, like, when you look at marginal decisions, Arsenal don't get any of the marginal decisions go their way. I can't think of a marginal decision this season where I'd look and go, oh, I tell you what, we got a little bit lucky there. Jesus, it's a marginal decision, doesn't go our way. The Newcastle goal, it's a marginal decision, it doesn't go our way. We haven't had any of these marginal decisions go our way. And I fully do believe that the FA do not like our manager. And when you don't like the manager, he manages our football club, so we're going to get the decisions that go against us purely based off the fact that the FA do not like our manager.
Is it the FA though, or is it the PGM MOL?
Yes,
they're not the same thing, are they? So yeah, you slag off one of them refs, they'll all be having drinks on Sunday night, slagging off Arteta, slagging off Klopp, and they'll collude and think, I'll get him back for you. You can
decisions aren't
listen
even,
to Mike Dean. Listen to Mike Dean interview. You can literally taste it.
You're not
getting the looking after my mate.
The referee, they're meant to let this whole thing. They're meant to let the game. He could not wait to disallow that Havertz goal. I don't think that Havertz goal is a goal. I'll admit under the rules.
They went over it today, Rob, on the Sky Sports ref thing, and they said it's right that it should have been ruled out.
Yeah, it's right that it should have been ruled out, but it didn't even get a chance for VAR to, VAR are always going to stick with the on-field decision there. Has the referee really seen a handball there? Come on. You're trying to tell me the referee's seen a handball? He could not wait to put his whistle to his mouth and say that wasn't a goal.
I don't know. I see 4 handballs. So I can imagine he's seen a handball and thought, I'll disallow it, knowing VAR's going to clear it up anyway. But this is another thing. I don't agree with the rule. And me and Trav were talking about before you come on again. But the letter of the law is if an attacker handballs it, it is to be ruled out. So as the rules are, but I don't believe the rules. It was 6 of one, half dozen the other. It was all frantic. To me, it was a goal.
But there has to be some...
The other one handballed it first. Was it Matty Cash?
Yeah, exactly. There has to be some common sense. So Havertz is getting punished for heading the ball on someone's hand and it bouncing off their hand and then going back onto his hand and then putting it in the net. That's just no common sense. I think it should, under the rules, and the rules are that goal should be disallowed. I'm not going to argue, but it's just the rules terrible. Ian Wright said it on Match of the Day. It's a horrendous rule.
We all know it is. We all know. Listen, while we're on a rant, you remember that Virgil van Dijk got sent off against Newcastle. Rightly so, he cleaned out his Zach. But he got an extra game ban for saying to the ref, that's an effing disgrace. You fast forward 2 months to only last week against, who was it? Spurs, Man City Spurs.
Haaland
and Rodri, I think it was, they manhandled the ref, screaming in his face.
Yeah, Haaland
nothing's been done.
bad.
No one's made a thing about it. So if they're clamping down on cheeking up the ref and they're giving Van Dijk an extra game, you have to be consistent for the whole season. The same with Arteta getting a yellow card or whatever it was right at the start in the Charity Shield. They have to be consistent and do it the whole season. But they're backing out mid-season, changing the rules because the pressure's on. Howard Webb's getting a bit of a sweaty neck, and it's just not right. It's a disgrace.
Like, you two support different teams, right? I obviously support Arsenal, so I fully back everything Arteta does. You know, if he runs down the line with his pants off, bro, no, pause. I'm saying he did the right thing, but what I'm asking is, do you guys think that Arteta is really that different to any other manager in the league? I'm talking your Peps, your Klopps. Is he really that different in his mannerisms and the way he behaves?
Nah, no.
Do you know why he gets a rough ride, Rob?
Go on.
Because he's seen as a rookie.
Yeah, this is what I mean.
Like
He's
you say, if that was Ferguson or
disciplinary.
Klopp or Pep, they'd be like, you've been there, you've seen it, you've won it all, you're experienced. It's because it's almost like they try to put him back in his box. You're still a young manager, you haven't won anything. Who do you think you are?
Yeah, it's strange.
I don't know how accidental handball for a defensive action is like fine, but then for an offensive action, it's penalised. It makes absolutely no sense.
And I'm telling you now, lads, they'll change that rule in the summer. But going into next season, I can guarantee you, it'll be back to a kind of a deliberate handball.
Handball. But I think
guarantee they'll change it.
I think if a defender is in the width of the goal and he's 2-3 yards away from the goal, and even if it's accidental, you've stopped a goal. Like, you're stopping that ball going in the net. Yes, I understand, but your arm is stopping a goal. And even 10, 15 years ago, you know, when it hit someone on the line and it was accidental, they'd get a red card and it'd be a penalty. So for me, I think you have to, like, if someone blasts a ball from 25 yards and someone's on the edge, just on the edge of the box, and it hits the hand accidentally, of course not. But I always believe if you're in the width of the goal and someone heads it from 3-4 yards away and your hand's there, there's a potential for that to be a penalty.
Yeah, an attacker would feel hard done by that, wouldn't they? They'd feel aggrieved, like somebody's arm was there and it stopped it, even if it was an accident and you're like a yard out or whatever. But that's where the refs need to just use their common sense and just, it's not about changing the rules. Like,
there's no common sense left anymore, is there, Trav? That's the problem.
There should be, though. They're using
definitely
get out clause. You know what I mean? They're relying on all this technology and letter of the law and rule book and stuff. It's not,
and not just that, Trav. They're thinking of things that happened last month or the month before, and they're thinking, "My mate made that decision. I need to make the same type of." The heads are absolutely bust.
Right, mate.
They're not reffing the game anymore. They're thinking about who set a precedent 3 months ago. What did Howard Webb say about doing this, about doing that, and VAR will bail me out. It's just an absolute mess.
It's all we talk about, though.
Yeah,
no. Talk about.
No. The Arsenal ones are so easy, though. Like, they're not even contentious decisions. Like, they're so easy. Like, Douglas Luiz just kicks the back of Jesus' heel while his legs in the air, gets nothing on the ball, penalty, stick on. Like the Gabriel one against Newcastle, he just climbs on top of him and just pushes him to the floor, like penalty, like free kick. Like, it's just not.
Like Man U and a Liverpool fan saying it, Rob. I hate Arsenal and I hate Man U, and I'm like saying the Gabriel was a disgrace, and that was a penalty on Jesus on Saturday.
Did you see the Gabriel one against Luton where he jumps up and he gets pulled to the ground? Yeah. Have you seen that one?
I've seen that one.
So why is that not a penalty, but Haaland against Chelsea is a penalty and Rodri at Old Trafford's a penalty? They're like minimal they're minimal pulls. This guy's literally got Gabriel's shirt and you can see Gabriel jump in the air and literally get pulled down by the shirt. Why are those two for Man City penalty, but Arsenal's isn't?
Luton as well.
Yeah.
Van Dijk pulled down in the box. And you're like, go on then, ref, be consistent.
Yeah.
I'm just going to jump into the comments. Ravi says, if Arsenal bagged the Odegaard chances with the decisions going against them, they wouldn't care too much because they won. But because they didn't win, they say robbery. I'm not so sure, mate. Obviously, you'd take the win, wouldn't you, Rob? But
I'm not saying it's robbery.
I'm just these incidents isolated. It's a disgrace.
We should have won the game.
You know what? The goal, I said to you Saturday night, the goal was a goal. when you just look at it with common sense. But the letter of the law, it isn't a goal because it hit the attacker's hand a couple of times, and it's not right, but that is the law. We can all accept that. Vamos. Like, subscribe, people. Be nice, Vamos. Nice one. Cheers, Jose. Yeah, if anyone's watching and you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, of course. Even as a Liverpool fan, I would say the same for Liverpool. Can't just blame refs. The team has to do more to win the game. Yeah, do you know what?
100%. We had the chances to win the game. No doubt about it.
Didn't take them.
I'm just talking about the whole situation around Arsenal and Arteta. Why I believe these decisions are going. Yeah, why I believe these decisions are going against us is because the FA obviously have something in for our manager, and you can't say they don't, because the way he's getting these yellow cards and the way he's getting these bans, and the other managers are not. You watch, then literally, if he's banned for Anfield, that is a disgrace. Biggest game of the season for us, and we're not going to have our manager on the touchline when they could have banned him for Burnley at home or Luton away or any other game. It would be a travesty. And like I said, I'm paying to go to watch that game. I will be there at Anfield, and I want to see Klopp and Arteta. It's half of the spectacle.
Yeah, somewhat suspect about that if that happens, you know.
He wasn't on the touchline Saturday night, was he?
No, that was for the 5 yellow. Does it referees 3 yellow cards or 4?
3, I think.
That was for 3 yellow cards. That was Scott. So
and now he's still got this charge.
He's still got this charge hanging over him. Yeah, which they've decided to take 5 weeks. You know, so I don't know what's going on.
Let's talk about this keeper. I said we would. Forget about Alisson, who's clear of anyone in the league. Surely Martinez is the second best keeper in the league. Forget about him winding up fans, players, etc. Appreciate him still. And the added little caveat to this, Rob, is that Arsenal let him go. I said way back in the group chat, didn't I, Trav, whatever it was, 2-3 years ago, Arsenal sold the wrong keeper. I can't believe you let him go. I rated him highly there. Do you remember you played us in the Charity Shield, Rob?
Yeah, he was class.
He won on penalties. He was class. Yeah, and then you sold him.
Yeah, well, what actually happened was the year that Arteta came in was the year that we won the FA Cup, and he got the number 1. Leno got injured away at Brighton, the Neil Maupay injury. I don't know if you remember. Maupay did him and he got injured. Leno was out, and Martinez got his chance, and Martinez grabbed it, and he was quality from the back end of the season all the way up to us winning the FA Cup. And then in the summer, Arteta said to him, look, I'm not going to say you're my number 1. You and Leno are going to have to fight it out for the number 1. I firmly believe that, you know, like he said with Ramsdale and Raya, Martinez was going to be the number 1, but obviously maybe he didn't feel as though he had enough, you know, insurance that he was going to be the number 1, and he felt he was at a stage of his career where he needed to definitely play. He didn't want to be fighting for a number 1 jersey, and he went to Villa, and he's been amazing for them, and he's won a World Cup. I'm still a bit suspect. I'm still a bit. You know, I don't think he's great with his feet, but then again, for me, I want my keeper to save shots, and that's what he does. So, you know, so
he's got a gap in him as well. He has got the odd mistake in him.
Well, he nearly dropped one on Saturday. He nearly dropped one on Saturday from the corner. You know,
he's not the tallest, is he?
Nah.
Oh, Martinez is massive, isn't Martinez? Has got to be 6. Martinez has got to be 6'3", 4.
Yeah, easily. When I look at him,
easily, yeah, he's big. He's big. He's big.
He's
Scott.
a big lad. He's stocky as well.
Let's cut to the chase, Rob. Would you have him back? If you could turn back time, do you wish he was your number 1? That's the question.
I'd take Lehman back now. This keeper thing's winding. This keeper thing. This keeper situation's winding me up. It's killing me. It's winding me up. It's.
Where does it go from here, though? Like,
I don't know where.
You still think he's going to stick with Raya, or?
I just don't know. It's just like Raya's not. He's good, but is he been an upgrade? And then obviously the Ramsdale thing, he's not. You know, he's not getting back in. He wants out the club. The manager wants him out the club. And then you're looking, is David Raya going to be good enough going ahead? Like, I haven't seen Raya win us a game of football yet. You know. No. I've seen Ramsdale win
like Alisson on Saturday.
Yeah. And Ramsdale
did you watch the Crystal Palace game?
Yeah, Bob? He was quality, mate. He's class. He's, for me, I've said on this pod before, he's the best keeper in the Prem. But I've not seen Raya. He's not had that standout game for us where you've gone, okay, he's won us 3 points there. It's not happened. He was poor against Luton. The other games, he's made mistakes, but I need to see that. I need to see that standout game. We've seen it from Ramsdale. We've seen it at Anfield. We've seen it at Spurs last year. I need to see David Raya pull out. You know, us going to Anfield in a couple of weeks. He's gonna have to be quality for us to win that game. He's gonna be busy. He's gonna have to make saves, and you know, I haven't seen a standout game from him yet.
Jose says Jesus will never be the God striker who could save Arsenal from bottling again. Jesus will not guarantee you enough goals to win the league, and he's too inconsistent. I did think this on Saturday night, Rob. I thought, I know what the headlines are going to be. Arsenal are short of a gunman to be putting these kind of games to bed, and then Jesus got subbed off, and I thought I could see that coming. And then Trav, you put in our group chat with Neil today about a gunman. Is that too simple to say, Rob? Is it? No, are you just an Ivan Toney away from winning that game on Saturday night?
No, because I look at Man City, like we spread our goals, like I've said, across our team. So if we're going to stop spreading the goals, we need a Haaland who's going to score 40 goals. Not 15, not 20. You need, and where do you get someone who's going to guarantee to score 20, 25 to 30 goals? Like you're talking, Man City have changed the way they play, but they've got a striker who's literally scoring 40 goals. The other players are chipping in with like Grealish got 4 or 5 last year. How many did Foden get? Mahrez, all them boys. I don't think any of them hit higher than probably 10. Did any of them get over 10 goals? I'm not sure in the league. So when you're talking about you need a gunman, you're going to get a gunman, but is it going to take away from Saka and Martinelli? So you almost have to get that guy who's guaranteed to score you 25 plus goals if he's going to take away from the other players.
But it's also like a different kind of striker for a different kind of game, isn't it? Horses for courses.
Yeah.
A bit like us with Núñez and Gakpo. Like on Sunday, I'm almost guaranteeing you that he'll start Gakpo over Núñez.
I think just on Rob's point as well, I think if you're not going to have that striker that can get that many goals, I think Arsenal's wider players need to sort of get Salah Mane numbers then to win, to get you over the line. Do you know what I mean? I think if you are going to rely on those wide forwards to get you goals, or the majority of the goals in the team, I mean, if you look at Salah and when Mane was in his pomp as well, they were getting between 15 and 20 in the league, 25 in all comps. And I think Saka had a fantastic season last year. Martinelli had a good return as well. But I think if they are going to go on to win the league, whether that's this year or next year or whenever, I think they just need to go up to that next level in terms of the goals, the goal return, just to get them over the line. Because like you said, Man City, they can score 100 goals in a season. Do you know what I mean? Standard with Haaland and with the rest of the players that will chip in with goals. We know Liverpool have got lots of goals in their team. And at the end of the day, goals do win games. Defenses do as well, and a top goalkeeper, but the game starts at 0-0. If every game's 0-0, it's a draw, innit? You need to score to win. And I think, like, we've been here. I'm not saying that Arsenal aren't capable of winning the league. I do think they are, but we've been here before where there's been that little looming question mark as to whether, if Arsenal aren't playing well, who can dig them out? Who's that guy they can turn to, or that player, or those people? And Odegaard and Saka, they did step up to all the way through, but they didn't get over the line. So I think if they can go that one extra level, I think they can do it.
Yeah, because they all scored 15 last year. Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, they're all around the 15 mark. But I think next summer we'll drop Rice money on a striker. That is for me. I can't see us doing it in Jan, and I can't see Brentford getting rid of him in Jan because they've just lost Mbeumo as well, and I can't see them going. And you're looking at a player who's not played for what? So how long's he not played for? Is he going to hit the ground running straight away? I don't think we'll go for Toney. And I think the most obvious destination for Toney is Chelsea. So, but then again, is he going to want to go to Chelsea? Because, if you leave in Brentford, for me, you want to be leaving to go and play European football. I know Chelsea are a big club, but at the moment they're an absolute mess. So I can see Toney staying at Brentford till the summer.
I think so.
Victor Osimhen, that he gets linked with every club, doesn't he? Not least Man United, but Arsenal as well.
Yeah, I think we're going to spend big money on a striker. I don't know who that striker is going to be. we might look at Martial because he's I seen he's on a free in the summer.
I'd love it if you signed Martial.
Kolo Muani as well. Kolo Muani is another one that you've been linked with as well, to be fair. I know he's just gone to PSG, but he was a name that you've been linked with quite a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like you said, strikers are like,
hard.
They're hard. It's a hard market, isn't it? The striker market. Tough.
But it's not just that. We've all said it before. You don't want to upset the rhythm of the team. Trav just touched on it there. If you want your Saka and Martinellis to be getting 20 goals apiece, like Salah and Mane numbers, you need that false nine. And I was about to say Firmino got away with it, but he didn't because he was like the oil in our team. He wasn't getting away with anything, but everyone forgave Firmino for not posting the numbers because he was the key that unlocked the door for Mane and Salah. So if you got Saka and Martinelli getting them kind of numbers, you do kind of need a false nine, don't you? And then Jesus would look better.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier for us to go and get a striker and not upset Jesus because at the moment, our wide options are Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, and Nelson. Now, for me, Nelson isn't an option. He's not good enough, unfortunately. So you've got Trossard, Saka, and Martinelli. We all know that Jesus can play out wide. So he's going to get plenty of minutes, regardless of if we do go and spend big on a striker. It's not like we signed a striker, that's the end of Jesus at Arsenal. He will get plenty of minutes in wide areas. Saka can't play every single game. Martinelli can't play every single game. So I think it's a lot easier for us to go and get that striker because it won't upset Jesus too much because he can play many different roles in the team.
We're going to end it on top four. We mentioned it earlier. Trav, you start because I think Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man City are boxed off the front, the top three. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I don't know what.
Yes.
Order. I don't know what order, but yeah, I'd say.
So it's just a fourth place we're debating. Who's going to grab that fourth place, Trav?
If you was to ask me now, I would say Spurs. I would say Spurs would probably get that fourth spot. I just think they've got some injuries. They've gone on a little bit of a bad run. It was a huge result for them against Newcastle. I think they've shown enough this season with the way that Ange's got them playing that when those injuries come back, they can probably go on a little bit of a run after Christmas. They've not really got any European football and stuff. I think if you look at their squad when everyone's back and the issues United are having, I think Villa will inevitably drop off. I hope they don't. I hope they can sustain it. But I just think with the Christmas period coming up, I know they've just beaten Arsenal and beaten City. They'll probably beat United and then they'll probably go and lose a few games that you don't expect them to lose. That's just what happens in this league, and they get challenged and they get tested. So yeah, I expect Tottenham to secure that fourth spot. If I was a betting man and I was looking at the table now, in terms of the title, I think you three are gonna just tussle it out. You, City, and Arsenal. My money's just slightly on. I don't know. It just depends on City if they can put that run together that they normally do. But I can't split you at the moment. I think it's a little bit too early to even say it's tough. I'm going to sit on the fence with the title. But yeah, I think those will be the four that will finish in the top four.
Rob?
Yeah, I'm echoing what Trav said, really. I think Spurs, it hurts me to say it, and I hate to say it, Ange Ball and all that nonsense. But I do think Spurs will get top four. I feel Emery likes his European competitions, and they're in that Conference League, and I think he's going to want to win that, even though it might hamper their league form. So I'm going to go with Trav and say, yeah, I think Spurs, once they get the players back, will finish in the top four. But I do believe that this January window for all the teams up there is going to be huge. And I think all of them are going to be willing to spend. I think Liverpool are going to spend. I think Arsenal are going to spend a little bit. I don't think we'll spend as much as maybe Liverpool, but I think Spurs have still got that Kane money they can spend. So yeah, I think I echo Trav's thoughts, and I think Spurs will finish top four. As far as the title goes, I just can't see past Man City. I feel all the teams have got frailties, but I feel as though City will sort out their frailties a lot quicker than what Liverpool and Arsenal will. And I think they'll go on a big run. If you look at the next 10 games, I can't really see them dropping that many points, to be honest. They've got Newcastle away, who now, looking at how they're playing at the moment, I probably fancy City to go and beat them as well. So, yeah, I'm going to go City for the title and I'm going to go Spurs for top 4.
I think it's always important to listen to rival fans, Rob. And obviously, we've spoken about it before, you're self-critical about your own club,
Exactly, yeah.
a little bit pessimistic, but an Arsenal defeat is pleasing me more than a Man City defeat at the minute.
Okay, that's interesting.
I really, really fear Arsenal. I honestly think this could be the year.
I've just got a weird feeling we're going to do something in the Champions League. I've said it from the start of the season. I don't know what it is. I think if we can get some favourable draws, I can see us get into the semi-finals.
Over 2 games, home games at the Emirates will be tough for anyone.
I think if we can avoid Man City, I'm not really scared of anyone else in Europe. I feel as though if we play to our full ability, I think we can beat anyone in Europe. I'm just so glad Liverpool aren't in it because, Liverpool over 2 legs, that's one of the worst places to go in, obviously, Europe. So, and I'm hoping Newcastle go out as well because you just don't want to go to them tough. You don't want to go to them horrible, hostile. No, you don't want a Prem team. So I've just got a weird feeling that we're going to do something in the Champions League and miss out slightly on the title.
Nice one. Right, lads. I didn't say who was top 4, but I'm going to sit on the fence. I don't want to say. I can't call it.
No, you've got to. You can't ask us and then sit on the fence.
Newcastle. I know Newcastle have just lost 2 in a row.
You got to say it, man. You can't ask us and not say it.
I'm not buying Spurs. I'm not buying Spurs. Man United are going to be nowhere near. Aston Villa. Yeah, what a story it would be. I think Gabby Agbonlahor has probably convinced me on TalkSport on the way home. He said that their owners are one of the richest in the league and they spend. And I thought, he's really backing them. Ollie Watkins is a monster. Watching them. I mean, I've watched so much ball this season, thanks to the wife. Really appreciate that, Hayley. But the teams that I'm watching, like Villa are ace. Newcastle, I'm so glad we've already beat them away from home. They scare me. Brighton are always a force. But yeah, Spurs... We shouldn't have got beat by them. But then when I watch the rest of the teams, like there's teams that can do bits, like Luton. I tweeted it yesterday. They are the hardest working team in this league. That's going away to Kenilworth Road is not the gimme that it was 3 months ago. They've really found their feet in the Prem. They're going to take points off people. I'd love to see them escape relegation. Crystal Palace took us to Istanbul levels on Saturday. Fulham the same. We narrowly beat Fulham. They've just won 2 home games in a row, 5-0. It's just the quality in the league is really high at the minute. And I didn't feel like that at the start of the season. I felt like there was gimmies like Luton, Burnley, Sheffield United, probably Everton looked like they were going to struggle. They've turned it around. Everton are absolutely flying. They'd be up towards the European places without this 10-point deduction. So, I don't know. You're both holding a gun to my head. 4th place. I'm going to go Newcastle.
Oh, do you know what? I'll give you that, Scott, because I do understand kind of why you're saying. I do kind of understand why you're saying Newcastle, because the brand of football that Villa and Spurs play, they are susceptible to losing games in terms of they are very open teams, and if you can get it right, like West Ham did. And like Villa are finding in their away games, if you can get it right, you can beat them quite easy. Not easily, but if you set up right, you can get them on the counter attack. And I feel as though if Newcastle can get the players back, they've got a better structure and they're a lot more difficult to beat than them 2 teams when they got their fully fit team. So I do understand why you're saying that. I do see Newcastle as they can get it right and get players back. They're still a threat massively.
Yeah, quality. Right, lads, cheers for your time. We always say 25 to 30 minutes, and we've been 50. That's what it's like with Premier League football, the most exciting league in the world. We're always here talking about Liverpool, Man United, and Arsenal. Trav, we're back on tomorrow night at 10 p.m. for a live match reaction, aren't we, to
talking about Europa League.
I can sit back and watch the under-15s away at PSV top the group.
I'd love it if finishing 4th place in the Champions League group put you in the UEFA Conference League. I would absolutely love it if Man United.
I hope we've come rock bottom. To be fair, I can't take you. I can't do it, man. I literally can't. Because we'll get wigged in that as well, and it will be the worst, man. But hopefully 10 hours gone by, then we'll see it's a big win.
But you never know. Bayern Munich might rest players because they're already through, aren't they? So anything could
No,
happen.
I think for Munich coming to an English team, they're gonna want to. They'll enjoy that, you know, because they don't get a lot of games like that in their season. So I think they'll embrace that, and I think they'll come with a strong team to United.
Traveling fans, they've just lost 5-1 at the weekend. Well. They're not off.
They don't get because otherwise they'll be playing who they got like Union Berlin or someone at the weekend. Man U's a big game for them. They'll definitely put a strong team out.
And obviously they've got history in Man U, haven't they? So they won't.
The thing is, even if we win, the other game has to be a draw. Like it's just not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening.
Right, we'll be there for it. Don't forget to tune in 10 p.m. tomorrow night. Me and Trav are going to be there no matter what. Travel was fronted up when it's adversity for Man United. So, if you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's 4 people watching right now. If any of you are new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe. It helps us out loads. Trav, Rob, have a nice Monday evening. Cheers for joining, lads. Much love.
Cheers. Thank you.
But Gerrard! Oh, you beauty!